Hey, I think we did it. Sorry for the delay, guys. Turns out that when you're doing a live stream, it's kind of important to have audio. And I did not set up my audio appropriately when I started, and I'm still kind of fiddling with it. So if I'm too quiet or too loud, let me know. That's something that I always have trouble with. What's going on, everybody? We haven't done a live stream in a while, I feel like. We did one on the Facebook page, I think yesterday, but now we're doing one on the YouTubes. It's a good time. So here's how this is going to work, all right? I saw an advanced screening of Wonder Woman last week. I will do the first 20 minutes or so of this spoiler-free. No spoilers. That's how it's gonna roll. All right? Cool. I sound good? Awesome. And the last, 20 to 30 minutes or so will be all of the spoilers. But right now, no spoilers. When I do get to the spoilers, this is going to pop up. Look at that. It's pretty. And then hopefully if people come in the middle of the stream, they can see this on screen the whole time and be like, oh, there's spoilers. See, I'm thinking. Because you guys always get on my case about spoilers. Anyway, let's get rid of that. So, let's see. We've got mods in the chat. We got Mopey. I think I saw Dennis. Maybe not. I don't know. But thanks for everyone for coming out, for showing out. Share the stream if you want to. This is my kind of goal here is to try and, if you're maybe on the fence about seeing Wonder Woman, because maybe you don't like any of the DCEU movies, to try and ask the question, should you watch it? Is it really as good as the scores on Rotten Tomatoes says it is? I think it's currently, last time I checked, it was sitting at about a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I kind of want to discuss all of that, right? So, Scrub Dennis is there. So yes, generic overview of it, I thought it was the best movie of the DCEU. That's not, in my opinion, that's not saying a whole lot. I know there are people that really love Batman v Superman or really love Suicide Squad. I actually liked Suicide Squad. I'm probably one of the people that doesn't mind it as much as a lot of other people do. But when it comes to Wonder Woman, it's by far the best one that they've done, in my opinion. I think the reason for that is there's a lot of elements you can tell they played it really safe. They almost made it, and this some people might groan at if you're a huge DC kind of fanboy and you don't really like the Marvel stuff, but it feels like an average Marvel movie to me, in the sense that I think Dylan and I compared it to Ant-Man, where like the first two acts were really, really good, and then the final act, it was just like, oh yeah, we forgot that we're a superhero movie. Before we were kind of like an action-adventure war film sort of a thing, and now we are a superhero movie, so the last act has to be just constant punching and explosions, and it's a good time. So, yeah, that's kind of I have a list of notes, and I don't have them pulled up in front of me, and that's really dumb on my part. So let me pull those up real quick. Yeah, I would say it's really good. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. I was expecting to be completely, absolutely blown away. If I could be real honest here with the Rotten Tomatoes score, if I had to, I don't like doing number reviews, but if I had to give it a rating out of 10, and I really hate to do that, but if I had to, I think, the 9 out of 10 is a bit high. I would probably sit it at a good 7. It's, it has a lot of really, really good elements. We'll get into a lot of that in the spoiler section if you guys want to stick around. But I'll talk about some of the generic stuff that I liked about it. Yeah, so yeah, it's just a good average movie, Some people might groan at that too, I was hoping for a fantastic, just amazing movie. But it was, in that sense, I was more so disappointed by my own expectations than I was the movie itself, if that makes sense. But it's still really good. I think you should, if you have at least a little bit of faith left in the DCEU, go watch this movie. Hopefully you'll find it as good as I think. Yeah, so let's go into it. So the like I said, the first two acts were really great. The first act, of course, had a lot of the origin elements thrown in there. The second act, she's she's in the world, and then the third act was the big kind of superhero boss battle sort of a thing. And that one again was the one that I felt fell a little bit flat compared to the other two. The other two were fantastic. The action was amazing. There's this fantastic action sequence in the second act in the middle of the movie that they play parts of it in all of the trailers. It's just so good. And it's the part of the movie where she kind of becomes Wonder Woman for the first time, or really just, she was always Wonder Woman, but you know what I mean? She goes out and it's her hero moment. It's like the big moment where she is finally the hero, and it's so, so good. I think it's worth the price of the ticket just to see that sequence, because I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole in any sense of the way. I was literally sobbing at that scene, like a baby, just tears streaming down my face because it was that good. I am reading the comments. What's the point of being live if I don't read the comments? I'm reading the comments. I'm just trying to, give my initial reactions and everything right now. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that whole sequence. It was just so good finally seeing Wonder Woman in her own solo film and getting just this epic moment that she deserved after 75 plus years of history. It was very overwhelming to me, and I could not contain myself, and I cried like a baby. Yes, this is no spoilers for this particular section. But I know some people think that I give spoilers away accidentally, so who knows? Maybe I'm accidentally giving spoilers. But my intention is no spoilers right now. So yeah, the action was amazing, not just at that part, but there were parts in the beginning of the movie that are really, really cool when we get to see. There's some shots in the trailers that you've seen probably with the with like the Amazons battling. That's really cool. There's a big, that big generic kind of superhero fight at the end. That's fine. Not nearly as good as the other two. The villains were really, really cool. My favorite villain was this gal right here, Dr. Poison, and they really used her in a really interesting way, which I'll get to in the spoiler section for sure. I don't think she got enough screen time for sure, but when she was on screen, it was awesome. I felt like she was the most menacing of the villains in the movie. There's of course Ludendorff, and he's fine. He's okay, and we'll get to some problems that I have to him again in the spoiler section later, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. He's okay. Dr. Poison totally stole the show for me. I just wish she was given a little bit more screen time. You didn't know she was a hero. You feel spoiled. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, when we get to the spoiler section, I will have a big text that says spoilers at the bottom of the screen so that hopefully everyone can be aware of that. How would I compare this movie to the animated Wonder Woman movie from 2009? There's a lot of similar elements in there. That's a great question. There's a lot of similar elements, but there are some things that are just slightly different that I think the animated movie did a little bit better, in my opinion. And we can, of course, discuss specifics in a bit. But yeah, I think if I had to say which one I liked more, it's so tough because there's the really epic second half, like the second act of the Wonder Woman movie, the live action one. That's just so good that I almost want to give it to it for that. But the animated movie is just solid from beginning to end. So yeah, I don't know. I might do the animated one simply because it just has a consistent good quality to it. The first part of the animated is a little better. I think I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree. I think the first part and the last part of the animated movie are better, but the middle part of this movie is just fantastic. Yep. Thanks, Mopey, for taking over the chat. There are no spoilers until the spoilers thing comes off the bottom. So maybe I should have made a non-spoilers thing to go on the bottom. I'll remember that for the future. Yes, so let's talk about some of the other side characters. We talked about the villains a little bit. There were some other cool side characters. I mean, of course, there's Steve. Chris Pine did a fantastic job. I think one of the biggest complaints I see about this movie is probably Gal Gadot's acting abilities. There are some really great moments that she delivers very well, but then there are a lot of moments where she, it kind of falls flat a little bit, I'll be honest. And I think the best scenes with her, other than the action scenes, the best kind of character moments are between her and Steve. They have a really, really good chemistry, and it's when you pair, actors who really, really know the craft together, and they just have this great chemistry back and forth. It's great. I loved it, and I loved his character. I was worried I wouldn't like him very much. I didn't really care for Steve Trevor in the animated movie as well. So, yeah, I didn't. Thankfully, Chris Pine did a very good job with the character. It was awesome. Yeah, Etta Candy, another character I wanted to discuss. A lot of people are bringing up. I wanted her to get way more screen time than she ended up getting, which is just so sad that she didn't. One of the very first videos I ever made on YouTube is about Etta Candy. It's about discussing her history and just like some wacky bonkers stories. Don't watch that video. It's real bad because it's real old. But yeah, I wish she had a bigger part in the movie. She was funny for the parts that she was in, but she maybe had like 3 minutes of screen time. It was very disappointing how little they used her character. There were some other side characters. They had like a ragtag team of soldiers that were helping out Steve and Wonder Woman. Those guys were awesome. Some genuinely heartfelt and funny moments between everyone. And I just felt like they had a really good... they felt real. Those characters felt real. They felt like they belonged. Then, of course, there's the Amazons. There's a couple good characters in there. Hippolyta Shore. I forget the name of the character that Robin Wright played, but she was great. I'm actually trying to forget that House of Cards, the current season of House of Cards is out, because I will not get any work done if I continue to watch that show. But yeah, does it save the DCEU? I think so. I mean, I don't know if saving is the right word. It's definitely the best movie in the DCEU. I think the biggest part about that, or the biggest reason why, is because it's so disconnected from like the Batman v Supermans, from the Suicide Squads. It's it stands on its own as its own thing. It's a period piece. There's no interaction with any of the other Justice League members. It's just Wonder Woman, and I think that isolated nature of it makes it kind of a good standalone movie for sure. And I think and again, it's because of that. I think it's the best movie that they've made so far. So, let's see. How come I cannot get a Wonder Woman shirt for guys? I don't know. I got one. It's a good time. I got two, actually. I got the black one that I received in the unboxing that Warner Brothers sent us. Made a video about it the other day. Go check it out. So this movie just showed the way DCU... Yeah, I think this movie is probably... It has a lot of good elements. You can tell they're playing it safe. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but you can tell they played it really safe. They, they saw that some of their movies that they were trying to make some like big statements, some big universe world building stuff with, was kind of polarizing between the fans and the critics and everything like that. So this movie made it just kind of said, you know what, let's just tell one character's story and establish that character and then keep it very isolated from the rest of the universe. And that's it. It's pretty great. Scott's a DC fanboy. You're right. You called me out on it. But secretly, upside down, this W is an M for Marvel. Nope. Anyway, let's see. I talked about all this stuff. The relationships between the characters, the side characters, all that stuff. The colors of this film. This is something that Dylan and I talked about for a bit on his review that he put up earlier today. So sorry if you're hearing me repeat the same information over and over again. But the colors of this film are interesting because on Themyscira, it's very saturated. It's very bright and very beautiful. I mean, of course it's going to be that way. It's Paradise Island, you guys. It's graded in such a way that it is the most colorful thing, I think, in the DCEU thus far, and it's awesome. And of course, they don't spend a ton of time there. Unfortunately, we're thrust into World War I for the rest of the movie, and this is where we get to be a little bit of a problem, because you know how the DCEU has a problem with making everything dark and gritty. I am not going to complain about that in Wonder Woman because there's a reason why it's dark and gritty. It's World War I. There's supposed to be this grand contrast between Themyscira, the beautiful, colorful, saturated Paradise Island. Again, I said it. And just the dirty, grimy, gray London where they're thrown into. So I think because of that, I will forgive this movie for mostly being kind of dark and desaturated, because it is supposed to be kind of this war film for most of it. That being said, a lot of scenes still take place during the day, and there are some very colorful, very almost beautifully sad moments later on in the film. No spoilers, but we'll get to that in the spoiler section. So yeah, I think overall this is probably the best color grading that the DCEU has had, in terms of just, they don't need to make everything so dark all the time. They can have colors and brightness, and it's great. Yeah, exactly, Spencer. It's gritty in World War I, but it's not as visually dark as the other DC films. Exactly. Most of the fighting during the World War I scenes take place during daylight. It's not a nighttime fight. So I think that is another element to it, which makes the grading stand out. It's a little bit better, in my opinion. Wait, there's a day in the DCEU? Yeah, there's actually some interesting stuff that we'll talk about later about that. Yeah, does it have any link to modern day Wonder Woman like in Captain America, the First Avenger? I'm going to go ahead and say this is no spoilers, because I'm pretty sure the opening shot of the very first trailer showed her in modern day. Yeah, the kind of setup of the movie is she's reflecting on her time period. But that's it. There's no connections to like Batman or Superman or anything. It's like I said, it's a very secluded film, which is really cool. Oh, someone's going to accuse me of massively spoiling the movie because of that. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, how long have we been going? About 20 minutes, actually. So we're probably about done with the spoiler-free section anyway. Does it get me pumped for Justice League? I would say, yeah. I think so. I think this does get me pumped for Justice League, just because they fleshed out Wonder Woman a little bit more, a lot more, actually. And if this movie is an example of the kind of stories that the DCEU can tell, then I'm on board again. I am a little fearful that the Justice League movie will just kind of go back to it'll be polarizing again, basically. I have that fear. Yeah, well, let's do a couple extra questions before we get into the spoiler section. Somebody says, how does it compare to Captain America, the First Avenger? I feel like this movie's there's gonna be a meme about that. Because it's, a period piece wartime film about a superhero that it also exists in the modern day. There's a character named Steve played by another character named Chris. There's another actor named Chris, rather. Yeah, there's a ton of similarities, and even more similarities that we can touch on in the spoiler section. But yeah, I'm not saying, I don't think that's a bad thing. I liked Captain America, the First Avenger, and I don't think it's bad that it's not wholly original, because I've said this on many occasions. Nothing's original. They did their own interesting take, and it was pretty cool. I really, really enjoyed it. All right. So people are asking about a post-credit scene. There was an after-credit scene at the credits. Some people are saying they didn't see it. People are saying that they're straight up confirmed there is none. I'll tell you my own experience is that there wasn't one, but I know that sometimes they don't give a post-credit scene for advanced screenings. When I went and saw Captain America Civil War last year at an advanced screening, there was no post-credit scene for that either. However, again, there might just not be one. DC doesn't always do that, or maybe have they? I think they've maybe done it once, but like I don't know. I wouldn't expect it. You can wait around if you want, or if you wait a day or two, the internet will confirm it. I'm sure they already have confirmed it, but you know. You watched it an hour ago and there was none. Cool. So there you go. There's confirmation. Yeah. So any more last questions before I get into the hardcore, all the spoiler stuff? I feel like most of you guys are going to leave when I get to that section, which is totally fine with me, because then I get to chat with the cool people who hang back. Not saying you guys aren't cool. They're just cooler. How you like that? Does Wonder Woman obtain her invisible jet? Ugh, I don't want to confirm or deny that. I feel like people might feel like that's a spoiler. Either way. Hey, just wanted to say that you're the best. Oh, appreciate it. What did the movie do best? That's a really good question. I think the thing the movie did best was telling one story. It told one single story from a character's origin to kind of where she is now. There was no further world building. I can't imagine anything that happened in this movie will come into play later in any of the other DC movies, unless they did kind of leave the door open for Wonder Woman for another Wonder Woman movie to still take place in the past. This is actually something that people were speculating with the next when there was a Captain America sequel. Before we knew it was Winter Soldier, some people were speculating that they would just tell another story of Captain America while he was in World War II. They totally left the door open for that, for another period piece Wonder Woman film to kind of continue the story of how she got to where she is today. Could be. But again, I can't imagine anything from this movie is going to play a part in any other movie. And I think that's a compliment, because they weren't trying to introduce a lot of elements. They were just telling one concise story. And I think that was pretty good. How did I feel about the music? The music is awesome. Are you kidding me? Wonder Woman's theme is one of the coolest movie themes I've ever heard. And it's just... It gets you pumped every single time that it plays. I forgot about that theme until I was in the theater and it came on at a big action scene. And I was like, oh, yes. Oh, I forgot about this. I forgot how much I loved this. This is awesome. Patty Jenkins keeps calling this Wonder Woman 1. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I imagine there's going to be sequels for sure. They should set the next one in the 60s or 70s. Yeah, there's a lot of questions about, because unlike Captain America, she just continued to live her life until modern day. Captain America was frozen, not a whole lot going on, so it's hard to tell a story between then and now with him, because he was frozen. With Wonder Woman, there's a lot of time left between World War I and modern day. Could be potential for a sequel. Who knows? Is it my favorite DC movie? Not my favorite DC movie. Definitely my favorite DCEU movie. My favorite DC movie. Ooh, I'm gonna sound like such an original person. I really love The Dark Knight a lot, and that'll probably remain as one of my tops. But this is real close. All right, it's not real close, but it is compared to all the other DC movies that have existed. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. It's definitely in the top tier. Any cameos of note? Again, I don't want to talk about that until we get into the spoilers yet. How about we move into the spoilers? We move on to the spoiler section. All right. I will give you guys 20 seconds to click away, but starting right now, are you ready? We are moving in to spoiler territory. All right. So, see ya, everyone who doesn't want spoilers. Check back in after the movie. After you watch it, come back and watch this. We can have the conversation and keep it going. Especially because the live streams don't change the live stream doesn't keep the chat. So bring back all your comments. We'll have a conversation about it. It's going to be a good time. You don't care about spoilers? Dude, neither do I. Awesome. I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of people leaving right now, which people are. So, all of the spoilers starting right now. Who's ready? Let's do it. All right. So the very first thing that I want to talk about are the villains, because I don't know if it was ever confirmed, and I was kind of dancing around it. But again, full warning, spoilers. What happened? The movie, ended up being about Ares, of course, the god of war, just like the animated movie was. The idea was World War I kicking off, people dying, the world in a horrible, brutal place, and Wonder Woman thought that, hey, it must be Ares who is behind this, the god of war. He's controlling people to make them fight each other and kill each other, right? Yeah, Ares, I'm so shocked. I know, I don't know if it was ever officially confirmed, but there was a ton of information out there, including like toys and just like, I don't know, leaks and whatever like that. Lost 38 people. I'm not concerned about that. Yeah, so it turns out that, so this is actually something I thought was really, really cool. Wonder Woman is thinking that there is Ares out there. It's never confirmed throughout the whole movie that there is an Ares out there, right? And so we're watching her think that that Ares is controlling people. We're watching Steve Trevor say like, no, it's not Ares. People are just bad. There's no such thing as an Ares. A god of war doesn't exist. People are just awful. And I really liked that message. I really liked that idea. I don't know why. It's a grim idea, but I like that idea. And then Wonder Woman fights Ludendorff. And then when she kills him, she thinks that he is Ares. Turns out he's just a dude. We'll talk about some weird stuff that's going on with him later. But then it's revealed that one of the side characters who has been helping Wonder Woman, who's been helping Steve Trevor by the name of Sir Patrick, he secretly has been Ares the whole time. And I did not see that twist coming at all. And it caught me off guard. I knew they were going to do a twist of who Ares was, because Ludendorff was not an interesting character to me. I thought they were going to make it Dr. Poison. I thought they were going to say, spoilers, she's Ares. Of course she is. She's so instrumental to the war that how could she not be? Turns out, nope. Sir Patrick. Pretty awesome. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I thought it was awesome. And then there's all right. So this is when the movie kind of went off the rails for me. This is the third act, right? Ares is revealed to just be a dude in a suit. And I thought that was really, really cool. Why would the god of war, walk around dressed in this big metal armor, it's very conspicuous. So I like the idea that he was just kind of like this invisible dude who is like in the shadows messing with people. And his whole thing was he didn't control people, right? He just said, hey, here's some chemical weapons. Here's some guns. Try not to kill each other, guys. Please, could you do that for me? When really he knew that humans, so kind of combining what Steve Trevor said, humans, if you just give them enough power, give them enough weapons, they're just going to kill each other because that's what they do. You wish that there was no Ares. I like the idea that Ares was there, but he wasn't controlling people. He was just kind of like, he was manipulating them, sure, but it was just kind of wasn't there. The Ares casting seemed weird. I think it seemed weird once he got into his big metal suit of armor. I thought that was totally out of place for the movie, in my opinion. I liked the idea that he was just a dude in a suit. And I don't know, once they put him in the armor, I was like, why? Why? Why do that? Other than toy sales, why do that? Yeah, you love the stash? It was a good stash. The twist doesn't mean anything. It has barely any impact on whether he's Ludendorff or the suit guy. I agree, but I think the big twist is more so not who he is, but how he works. Number one, that he exists, because up until that point, we haven't gotten any sort of confirmation that there was an Ares. And then number two, how Ares worked, because she was under the impression that he would just control people, full stop, and that was it. So, let's see. So Ludendorff. This was something I thought was out of place in the movie. So Dr. Poison and Ludendorff were working, they were like partners, right? Working together, making some chemical weapons is a good time. But she invented some sort of weird gas capsule that he would inhale and become strong. And that came into play exactly once and never again. And it was only during his fight with Wonder Woman. And I understood why. They needed to make it so that there was an actual risk, I guess. There were actual stakes with Wonder Woman, an Amazon who is incredibly strong and skilled in battle, fighting just a regular dude. They needed to have some sort of tension there that would make sense that he could actually stand his own. I get that. I just felt it was weird, though, right? It was weird that he would just, like, break the capsule and inhale it and become a little glowy, and then suddenly he's strong. It's whatever. Is Dr. Poison a character from the 60s? There's no way an actual writer came up with that. Yes, I believe Dr. Poison was Wonder Woman's first villain, but he was a dude. This might be... I'm not super up to date on Wonder Woman stuff, so there might have been a female Dr. Poison at some point in the comics. But I want to talk a little bit more about Dr. Poison because... he also used it to hold the door shut when he gassed the generals. I guess I honestly can't remember that, but it does make sense to me that would happen. I actually really enjoyed that scene, and it's another one of those scenes where people will be comparing it to Captain America: The First Avenger, because just like Red Skull, he used his new weapon, that poison gas that Dr. Poison created, to kill a whole bunch of people who were supposedly on his side to kind of show his power and rise to the ranks and everything like that, or, just be evil. Doesn't matter. So again, another comparison to Captain America: The First Avenger. Also, we should talk about this eventually. Steve Trevor, of course, dies, and he does so in a way where he flies a plane with the dangerous weapon in it, and basically takes his own life to save other people. Very Captain America-esque. A guy named Steve, played by a guy named Chris, goes up in a plane to give his life during a war. It's a whole thing. So, yeah, Steve Trevor dies. I'm so shocked. Well, we knew he was going to die at some point, right? Because he wouldn't be... I don't think there are any World War I survivors alive today. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they would be real old. But he didn't crash his plane in the Arctic. That is true. He crashed it into the sky. It just blew up, which is the other scene I was alluding to earlier that I thought was very, very beautifully satted and colorful, which is when the dust bomb went off on the village. It got this smoke stuff I've got in the background, the gas, and it's very saturated, very orange. So again, I kind of want to applaud the color grading there for finding some way to make the movie, colorful, even in a dark moment. You don't actually have to be literally dark to show darkness. You can do something like this, and it works out pretty well, which is also, I want to say, good job for the poster designers of this movie, because almost all of the posters, this one's a bad example, but out of almost all the posters, they showed this kind of orange gas, and lo and behold, it plays a huge part in the movie. So, you bet he bailed out of the plane at the last second. You know what? If they do a sequel that's also set in the past, as we were discussing earlier, I bet that might be a plot point. Yeah, I bet they could do that, for sure. Yeah, that's your exact argument? Yeah. Yeah, that would be... You know what? I'm trying to think if he would even survive that, because he would have to have done it way before the gas exploded, but it could work. Yes. Well, so I was talking about Dr. Poison earlier. Dr. Poison, they used her in one of the coolest ways, I thought, which is right at the very end, as the representation for humanity, where Ares was saying, look at how bad humanity is. Humanity is so bad that all I have to do is give them weapons and they'll kill each other on their own. I don't even have to do much of anything. And And Wonder Woman gets very, very frustrated by that, and she almost smashes Dr. Poison, like just straight up kills her. But you know, she's fine. She's fine. But the way that they use Dr. Poison here, I want to discuss a little bit in detail because I thought it was one of the most brilliant uses of the character in the film, and I almost made a video about it, but I guess I want to wait until the movie comes out on DVD or DVD. What is this? 2006? I mean, Blu-ray, and then I can make the video with the clips from it. But basically, they're using her as the stand-in for humanity. A character who wears, this porcelain mask because underneath it's, she has it messed up from some experiment that they never really went into detail on, but that's fine. I like the mystery there. But it is kind of this interesting stand-in that is the whole theme of the movie, that humanity on the outside looks okay, but the cracks are showing, and underneath they're secretly a little bit bad, gross. I don't know. But I thought that was a really, really cool way to use that character as... and then, of course, with the wind blowing the porcelain mask off and we get to see what's truly underneath, it's real good. It was really good. The way they talked about how ugly humans are and then her mask fall off. Absolutely. Once again, that's very good imagery, very good symbolism there. I thought that was so cool. Yes, the jet. People were asking about the jet. If you haven't seen the movie, you're wondering about the invisible jet. The answer is no. There's no reference to the invisible jet. I thought they would at least make a reference to an invisible jet. Like, for example, Steve, as a pilot, would be like, well, how do we fly into this place? It's not like my plane is invisible, right? Some little thing like that would have been totally acceptable. But they just didn't do it. Yeah. So, and then, what was the other thing? The ice cream was another really, really funny moment, that is taken from, the comics and is it the New 52 kind of movie? I can't remember. The idea that Wonder Woman tries ice cream for the first time and finds it amazing. And that is a little tiny touch that they've put in this movie that, again, is very Marvel-esque, where they take these little tiny moments and just say, we're throwing this in there because it's a good moment for everyone else, for like the whole movie theater, but the fans are going to really like that because it's a direct calls upon something. Yeah, Justice League War, thank you. That's where it happened. It's pretty cool. So this is something that I wanted to touch on a little bit. I was very, very disappointed with how little Themyscira was in this movie. The first act, great. I wish that came back in the end. That's something that the animated movie did a little bit better, in my opinion, where, the first part does have Paradise Island, and then it comes back in the end where all the Amazons are called up to help fight Wonder Woman fight the final boss, right? I wish there was at least some callback to Themyscira in the last part of this movie, but nothing. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Kylie. That is awesome. That's the first one today, I think. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone give shout outs, give some emojis, thumbs ups and claps and whatever. Thank you so much. That is awesome. Yeah, someone remembers the animated movie. That's right. I actually watched it for the first time last week or 2 weeks ago, and boy, I wish I had seen it earlier. That movie is so good. It's easily in my top 3 DC animated movies for sure. You just arrived. What did you miss? Well, we're doing spoilers right now, so if you don't want spoilers on the movie, probably click away. I don't have too much to say, but yeah, I do wish there was some closure on Themyscira. She leaves, and she's told you can never come back, and then they never mention it again. Do you think we'll get a callback in Justice League to Themyscira? Maybe. I feel like Justice League has so much going on though that we already have to establish other things like Atlantis and whatnot. I don't think so. I don't think we will. We might get, a reference, sure. I don't think we'll ever see it in Justice League, though. I think, again, this is one of those things where if they do a sequel that is set in the past still, then we could get more closure on that, where she does go back and just kind of tries to set things right. Or maybe she never does, and we never see that island ever again. Did anyone else who saw the movie already find it weird that on on Paradise Island, it's daytime when the rest of the world is nighttime, and then apparently nighttime when also nighttime? The day cycle worked out really weird there, because they had the soldiers going sailing at night. They come across the island, and it's daytime for the island. But then Steve and Trevor leave during the night on Themyscira and sail off also in the night. So it's not like it's even reversed, where day and night, night and day. So I'm very confused by that. But I did like the idea that it was literally night and day whenever you get to the island. But yeah, I was pretty sure it was just cloudy outside the island. Nah, dude. This guy's trying so hard to nitpick. I'm not nitpicking. That's just a small thing. I loved this movie. I can't say that enough. It was really good. It's by far, once again, I said at the beginning, it's by far my favorite movie. Should you watch it again? That's kind of like the whole theme of this thing. I think absolutely. Is it as good as Rotten Tomatoes says it is? My personal opinion says no, but it doesn't mean it's not bad either. Like I said earlier, if I had to give it a number rating, I don't like to give things a number rating, but if I had to, lasso of truth around me, had to say a number, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10, as is kind of what it's looking like on Rotten Tomatoes, but maybe it's time locked. When you enter is when you leave or something. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it could be like that. It could be like Narnia, where it just, time works differently. Yeah, for sure. Paradise is in the Bermuda Triangle. Well, there you go. Another fair explanation. This is me, again, being very, very nitpicky. But again, not as like a don't watch this movie because of this one small flaw. It's just when she kills Ludendorff and she stabs him, she straight up stabs him and pins him into the ceiling of a building, into the roof of a building, right? And then we see like the underside of her sword, and we see her pull out the sword later. There's no blood anywhere. And I'm not expecting a ton of blood. Obviously, it's not going to be R-rated, but like some? I don't know. She stabbed a dude, right? You'd think there'd be some, and you're allowed some in a PG-13 movie. So, I don't know. Couldn't Steve have jumped out of the plane in the middle of the English Channel or unloaded the bombs there? I think if he unloaded the bombs, it might have also, it would have poisoned the water, probably. I don't know. But he could have jumped out. We were theorizing this earlier. Maybe he did. Who knows? He would have to have done it way before the bomb exploded, because as we saw, when he even just barely approached the village where it had gone off, then he was already just coughing and being horrible, like almost dying, essentially. So, should you take your 10-year-old niece to see it? I think absolutely you should. Yeah, heck yeah. I would recommend that everybody see this movie. If I had to find people who just, maybe wouldn't want to watch this movie, if you really, really enjoyed like Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, this movie is, I don't know. I don't want to say that this movie is not like, it's definitely not like those. Whether that means you hate it or not, I don't know. I don't know. I'm the kind of person that says everyone should watch it, because then that's how you form your own opinion. But, yeah, I don't know. I think you should totally watch it and bring people to it. There's some sex jokes and Chris is naked in a scene, but that's, yeah. Oh yeah. So in terms of bringing your 10-year-old niece, there is, there's actually a really funny conversation, about sex that Steve and, Diana have on a boat. One of my favorite scenes, because it shows those actors and those characters bouncing off each other just very beautifully, which I'm sure someone will take out of context. But it was great. Their dialogue between them was awesome. He's above average. What a great gag. I loved that so much. R.I.P. Han, good to see Giselle is doing well. You've won my heart with that reference. Yes. Yeah, only Giselle died falling off a plane, whereas in this movie, the other person died on a plane. I don't know. That was a stretch. I tried. Anyway, you really want to send me money, but for some reason it won't let you. Hey, man, don't worry about it. If you really, really want to, you can go to, I'll type it in the thing here, but again, nobody's obligated to do this, but there's a PayPal address there if you really, really wanted to send us money. You don't have to. We have a Patreon as well. Patreon.com/NerdSync. That's that as well. That you can totally check out if you want to support us on a more regular basis. Super chat here works as well. I may have missed one. Maybe not. I can't remember. But yeah. Do I agree that the one that, like Hippolyta was a bit too strict? I think so at first, but I think, there was a part when she decided, you will train her harder than you have trained anyone else, and you will be more brutal and more strict. And I think, I thought that was actually really cool. I thought that was a cool moment when they were like, yeah, this is why Wonder Woman is so awesome. It's because she was created to be a living weapon to kill Ares, but it was also because she was trained harder than anyone else was, because that was an order. Wow, spoilers, dude. It's not. Have you seen this? Have you seen the spoilers word here? I don't feel bad about spoilers at all in this section. There's a big spoilers on screen. Talk about Ares. Well, we did already a little bit, but just to kind of recap, thought he was cool. Thought he was a cool dude. I didn't like him in the suit of armor. I liked him in the regular man dude suit. But yeah. Anyway, is Ares still alive because of World War II? No, I don't think so. I think because, again, his whole plot point was that humans aren't bad. That humans are bad, and that he hardly has to do anything to provoke them. So this might have just been World War II might have just been a coincidental thing where humans, just by their own design, started warring again without the help of Ares, because that's kind of the point. You loved how naive Wonder Woman was during the movie. I loved that too. It was kind of a combination of Steve Rogers and Thor a little bit, where it was like the innocence and the good-hearted nature of Captain America with that kind of childlike quality of Thor discovering how this new world is for the first time. But unlike Thor, who's like very arrogant about it and, another sort of a thing, Wonder Woman she just wants to save people, and she values kindness and caring and love and compassion. And it's, and again, it has that kind of Steve Rogers quality to it, where she's just a good person. And I think that's awesome. I think we need people who are just good people in this movie universe right now. So, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think we've been going for almost an hour right now. We might end it. Hey, thank you, Scott Jensen, for the $2 super chat. Keep up the great work. Thank you. And hey, congrats on having a great name, Scott. It's a good name. I endorse it all the time. Everyone, give some props, give some thanks, give some claps to Scott here for doing the super chat. That's awesome. I'm always very humbled when people do the super chat thing. It's super cool. Yeah. So, people were asking about cameos. I don't know if there were any notable, interesting cameos. I think Etta Candy was probably like the cameo, because she didn't have that much screen time, and she is a very obscure character, for most people. But, yeah. What's happening? Oh, sorry. I'm just reading the chat now. Hey! What's going on? We got lots of poop emojis for super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can't think of any other cameos. Those of you who have seen the movie, no major cameos either. I can't think of any. Bruce Wayne was the closest to a cameo, but he didn't actually appear in the movie himself. He appeared in the form of like an email. He was just like, hey, I found the original image. Someday you must tell me your story, sort of a thing. But yeah, he wasn't in it, other than that. So, yeah, that's about all the Stan Lee cameo. It was a fantastic Stan Lee cameo. He appeared as Mopey. If we don't get a Stan Lee cameo in the Flash movie as Mopey, we riot. Isn't that right, Mod King Mopey? The weird ending in Paris. Yeah, there was a little bit of a weird ending, for sure. She put on her Wonder Woman outfit and jumped into the city for no discernible reason, other than, look at this cool ending shot that we can do. But yeah, the part that for those of you who were here earlier and were wondering which specific part that I cried at, it was the part during No Man's Land where we got to see her in her full Wonder Woman costume in the battlefield, with a just epic music swelled, and it was beautiful, and it was like it was, to me, it was just hitting me all at once that like 75 years of history led up to this moment, and it was perfect. It was perfect. And yeah, it was fantastic. About her flying, some people were saying that they kind of teased her flying. They kind of did. They teased her a little bit. She was fighting Ares, and he had the ability to levitate stuff and like fly himself. So she kind of floated a little bit, but it was unclear whether that was her own, whether she was being controlled by Ares or whether that was her own thing, because she didn't really fly too much afterwards. They kind of teased her, maybe that ending jump was like her saying, look at me, I'm flying now, but she didn't fly in Batman v Superman, so I don't think that she can fly in this universe. She can jump real high. That's about it. And, yeah. Could you say that I was filled with a sense of wonder? I absolutely can say that, a sense of wonder. She jumped onto her invisible jet at the end. You know what? I think if they did the invisible jet, it would make sense that it would be something that she has in the present rather than the past. I know that it is like Amazonian technology in the comics, but I don't think it fits with that universe. So I like the idea that she's just so tech savvy. You know what, I guarantee this is going to happen. Mark my words. In a Justice League movie, Batman's going to have an invisible jet, and she's going to make a comment about it. Like, they're going to be transporting the team, and she's going to have an invisible jet. Or he's going to have an invisible jet, and she's going to comment about it. I guarantee it. Yes. Alejandro, hey, another super chat. Sorry, I was going on a rant just then, but you sent that a couple minutes ago. Thank you so much. More props to Alejandro here. That is awesome. Thank you so much, for the super chat. Always appreciated. And, right as we're probably about to wrap up a bit, she's going to steal it. Do you think, I bet she will steal the invisible jet. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. We'll do like a couple more questions and then we'll end it. What's my favorite scene in Wonder Woman? That's a good question coming from Frank. My favorite scene is the one that I cried at. It was the one where she comes out in No Man's Land and, yeah, just that epic moment where she, I'm teary now. No, she's in the costume fully for the first time. Because even when she puts on the costume for the first time, she's wearing like a cloak or she's wearing like a jacket. So that was the first time that we saw her fully in that costume, and it was just wonderful. Anyway, you only watched it with Dylan. Correct. Dylan and I saw it together last week, and I am seeing it in about 4 hours because I bought my ticket before we saw the advanced screening, so now I'm seeing it again tonight. It's going to be awesome. Do I think it's like the beginning for the DCEU? You know what? Here's the thing. The DCEU really wanted to start with the Man of Steel movie. And you know what? Fine. I can accept the Man of Steel movie as like a fair enough starting place. But this movie was way better, for sure. And it will always be, if someone says, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the DCEU, which movie should I start with because I don't know which order they're in, I will always recommend this one first, but then the rest of them kind of go downhill, in my opinion. Mickey Fozzie, hey, thanks for the super chat. Wish she fought because it's the right thing to do, not love. Yes, that was another big part at the end where she decided not to kill Dr. Poison because love conquers all, sort of a message. And I liked the idea that they had kind of set up earlier where she couldn't hear very well. An explosion went off or something and her ears are ringing and she just couldn't hear. And Steve was saying, hey, I want to, I got to go do this thing. What we as an audience couldn't really hear what he was saying. We knew that he was going to go fly the plane off and be a hero, but we couldn't hear exactly what he was saying. And I really like the idea of a miscommunication at the end. I wish they would have stuck with the concept of Wonder Woman never hearing the last thing that he said to her. And then he died and she was always left wondering. I thought that would have been tragically beautiful. But no, then they cut back to it and it's revealed that he says, I love you. And then it's his saying, I love you, that made her go, no, wait, love is great. I'm not going to kill Dr. Poison. Love is wonderful. Which, again, Dr. Poison got away. Potential sequel material, if they set it up in the past still, would be awesome. But hey, treat Mickey Fozzie the same way. Everyone, lots of claps, lots of poop emojis if you want to. Do that sort of a thing. But yes, it's awesome. Hence Wonder Woman always wondering. Exactly right. Wonderful Scott gets me on a spiritual level. Aw, that's very nice. Just some guy with a mustache. Appreciate it. It was a bit cringy. I agree. When that moment happened, when she realized that, the only way to stop Ares was with like the power of love and also just like lightning wrists, then I was like, all right, it's fine. So the cameos, good, bad. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the nerdy. Is that how it works? Does he still do that? I love it. But yeah, there wasn't really any cameos. Hey, wow, way to spoil the movie. Do you see the word? Do you see the word on screen, everybody? Say it with me. Spoilers. I know. I feel like at a certain point you guys are just picking on me, and I allow it because I'm a weak man. Anyway, let's wind this down. Shall we do that? I think let's shall. Let me know if you guys want me to do any more of these kind of like review type things. I really enjoyed this and I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I know a lot of people left when I started talking about spoilers. I actually have no idea how many people are here currently because I'm not watching the thing. All right, cool. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. We're working on some more Wonder Woman videos. They will be out as soon as possible. There's one that's coming out hopefully within the next couple days. The rough cut right now is 18 minutes long, so about the same length as that Archie video. We're trying to make that look real pretty and nice for you guys. It's real fun. There's a lot of jokes in it. It's a good time. Great stream as always. Thank you so much. Love the live chats. I love hanging out with you guys, so it works out both ways. I'm going to try a thing in case people watch this stream later and they make it all the way through. We're going to do this. Hey, check that out. Now, this looks like nothing to you guys who are right here, but eventually over here will be the end screen. We'll put like a subscribe button and another card or a video or something. I don't know. These only last 20 seconds, though, so I should probably wrap it up. Thanks so much to all of you guys in the chat for joining. Please leave more comments after the chat is ended because the video doesn't save the comments, doesn't save the chat. So please let me know your favorite parts about Wonder Woman, your least favorite parts, your reviews, all the stuff that I may have missed or just other things. I don't know. That'll be it for me, and I will see you guys in the next video, I guess. All right. Bye-bye.